41-year-old Dewey Gekki is adjusting to life after divorce. This holiday in Hawaii is one of the first he's taken without his family.
When I went over there, I really feel like my life was in a transition. I went through a painful, difficult divorce, and I was in the midst of a bunch of change. Everything felt new in many ways. I think I was taking things less seriously and becoming much more exploratory, much more curious.
Dewey's hoping that a week exploring the majestic scenery of Big Island will help him come to terms with the past and plan the future.
That is amazing.
Like every tourist, the must-see highlight of Dewey's trip to Hawaii is the spectacular Kilauea volcano. One of the most active volcanoes on the planet. It's set in 300,000 acres of barren lava fields. Devoted father Dewey badly misses his two young daughters, Trina, aged 5, and Tara, 7, who live with their mother.
Hey, Trina, Tara, it's your dad. This is the Kilauea volcano I was telling you guys about.
His kids couldn't come with him, so he's filming his holiday to share with them on his return.
Ain't she amazing? And tonight, you will see her in her full fury. More later.
But this trip to Kilauea is just a scout. Dewey plans to come back after dark when the volcano looks even more dramatic.
My friends had told me that viewing of the volcano was much better at night because you can't see the lava in the bright sunlight. I didn't expect to be out there very long, but the lady at the front desk said, well, it's very dark, you should at least buy a flashlight to take with you. So I put on jeans, good walking shoes, a t-shirt. I put my video camera in a waterproof case that I brought with me, and then I bought a flashlight, and that was my preparation for the trip.
Dewey doesn't pack a compass or bottled water for his nighttime trip. He expects to reach the volcano in a couple of hours and be back in his room soon after midnight.
I left the hotel and drove in this old road that goes into the national park, 10, 15-mile drive. It's fairly desolate. And then the road just dead ends. Way off in the distance, I could see the very, very faint glow of orange, of the actual molten lava. It was at that moment I started realizing that I had to be careful to get back to my car because there was no light on the car, there was no street lamps, nothing to identify the road. But the moon was giving off a good bit of light, so I thought I'd be okay. I was prepared for a very short hike. The only two things I was carrying was a flashlight and my video camera, and there's no cell coverage down there. So I didn't even bother to take my cell phone.
Dewey is confident he'll find his way back to the car, but he's failed to factor in the unfamiliar terrain and total lack of landmarks.
I was just skipping from mound to mound, and there was a breeze. I felt great. It was a really, really pretty night.
But after 2 hours, Dewey is still a long way from the distant glow of flowing lava.
I was like, that orange glow doesn't seem much closer than it did an hour ago. This seems quite a bit farther than they had told me. I thought about blowing it off, but I was pretty committed to actually seeing it and having the experience, so I didn't do that.
After a 3-hour hike, Dewey reaches one of Kilauea's active vents. Here, Molten lava pours spectacularly into the sea and solidifies, making Big Island a little bigger every day.
The steam and the sense of the ocean and the boiling water was just immense. To stand next to this and just realize what a small piece of this planet I am was humbling. It was phenomenal. So I took my video camera out and I started filming it. And I really wanted to get closer to it, but I kept, based on my friends telling me that it runs under the ground and there's a thin crust and all this, I kept feeling the ground as I got closer, and it got very, very hot. I was afraid it would melt my shoes, and I was afraid I could break through, and so I didn't get as close as I wanted, but it was really fascinating.
Hey, girls. It's your dad. Those lights in the distance? That's the lava flows crashing. I kind of doubt you can see anything. It's sort of like the landscape of the moon. It's the roughest, hardest terrains I've ever seen. That's it right there, girls. New Earth being created. It's a beautiful thing.
I watched the volcano for probably 20, 25 minutes, and then I was like, it's got to be late, and it's going to be very late when I get back to my car, so it's time to get headed back.
But when Dewey looks for the trail he came in on, he can't find it. Undaunted, he decides to follow the coastline and then cut inland to hit the road where he'd parked his car.
That was the plan.
But just after Dewey sets out,
The moon went down, or clouds came over. Basically, it got quite a bit darker. I think I was walking in less of a straight line. Surprisingly quickly, I hit a different texture of rock. It was, and I didn't know what it was, but instead of being this smooth, crunchy black dough, it was these large, white, crumbling boulders, and incredibly hard to walk on that stuff. If my thinking had been clearer, I think I would have noticed that I've somehow moved to a different topography, a different geography. Something's changed here. But I just didn't know if this was some strange, I'd seen so many strange formations and strange things the lava had done that it didn't occur to me that this was a bad sign.
3 hours later, Dewey thinks he's hugged the coast long enough. By his calculations, he should be only minutes from his car.
Okay, that's gotta be enough.
At the point I thought I've got to be past the end of the road, I turned left to walk inland, expecting to hit the road in my car. That's where things started going badly.
Dewey's taking a terrible gamble. If he misses his car in the darkened moonscape, he'll be heading deep into 300,000 acres of uninhabited volcanic fields.
There was no trail at all. I'm just walking across raw, unmarked lava flows.
After 3 hours hiking inland, there's still no sign of his car. Dewey realizes he's lost.
I'm just scared. I'm really scared.
Hungry, thirsty, and all alone, he feels a desperate urge to talk to someone, even if it's only his camcorder.
Well, it's getting late, and I'm dehydrated and lost. I had a plan to head up the coast, and cut across the road. Obviously, the road's a lot further than I thought.
But he's confident that with the dawn, he'll be able to find his car.
When the sun comes up, I can see just this vast area. The lava seems to go on forever.
Dewey thought that daylight would help him regain his bearings. Instead, he's confronted with an alien, featureless landscape. With no mobile phone, he has no way to call for help.
I didn't see any signs of humanity at all. Very alone out there, very alone.
Although he doesn't know it, Dewey walked right past his car during the night. Now he's walking headlong into 300,000 acres of empty lava fields. Dewey breaks out his camcorder. Recording a video diary for his daughters at least gives him someone to talk to.
Well, I can't find the road. I've circled, I must have walked 5-6 miles of absolute hell. I just can't work out how you get to this spot without having crossed the road. I don't think I'll be hiking without a compass again.
Heading inland looking for the road, I ended up walking on some stuff that was really, really dangerous to walk on. These are crispy shells like overcooked cookies, and every time you step on them, they break. You fall into these holes of crumbly shards of glass-like rock.
A shard of volcanic rock has ripped Dewey's arm open.
I sliced a vein, and a lot of blood came out. It was really frightening.
Dewey has nothing to bandage his wound with. Instead, he clamps it with his hand and hopes the bleeding will stop.
I was exhausted and injured and been walking all night, been falling, scraped and cut. Physically, was not in good shape at that point.
Pretty dumb, huh? Well, I just want you guys to know that I'm working really hard to get back to you. Well, this is what I've been walking on all night. It's the roughest, nastiest terrain I've ever walked on. Miles and miles and miles of this stuff, far as the eye can see. Really nasty terrain.
Dewey now knows that one more accident and his situation could quickly change from bad to critical. Worse, it looks as though he's still miles from safety.
I didn't see any signs of humanity at all. Very vast, very alone out there, very alone. Shortly after noon that first day, I really started seeing my thinking go bad. I would get confused that I was seeing terrain I'd seen before. I started wondering if I was walking in circles. I don't think my mind was working that well. I can't explain it, but at least for the first several hours of the day, I remained very stubbornly, foolishly attached to this idea that the road was ahead of me.
But then, Dewey hears something.
I had a helicopter coming straight toward me.
If Dewey's hotel reported him missing, this could be a search helicopter.
Hey! Over here! Hey! Guys!
But he has only seconds to try and get noticed A mirror attached to his camera bag may be his salvation.
Come on, guy. You can see me. Come on.
There was this grand fantasy that they would see my flickering mirror and come down and pick me up and fly me out, and we'd all go get breakfast.
Hey! Over here! Hey!
But it wasn't playing out that way. So if I had to stay there for a long time, I would have an idea of what I could eat to survive.
Guess that one's a no.
Starving and exhausted, Dewey desperately needs a good night's rest to regain his strength.
So I figured I'd better come up with a way to shelter myself.
Dewey's life in the city hasn't prepared him for this. So he must dig deep and develop survival skills.
I found some reeds that I could bend into a dome shape and shove them into the mud, and then pile stuff on top. That afternoon, I made a rudimentary little hut that I could crawl into. It was very, very flimsy.
Proud of his achievements, Dewey decides to tell his daughters.
Hey, Trina, Tara. You always said you wanted a vacation home, so here it is. I just built this shelter, and I'm hoping it's gonna help me survive. These leaves here, they're gonna help me collect water.
In the night, rain begins to fall. A light shower could fill his leaf collectors with life-saving water. But this isn't a shower.
The worst thing about the whole time out there was the nights. The wind cut right through my shelter, and it was just absolutely freezing. It was not well insulated. I hadn't put a door on it. Being in the wind and the rain and bugs crawling on me and not being able to move because I'd knocked down my shelter. That was the hardest thing for me. I shivered the whole night, and it wasn't a mild shiver. I shivered like deep muscle shiver.
The storm has trashed his shelter and overturned his rain catchers.
The third morning, the hunger had set in, the isolation had set in. I'd been shivering all night. I was exhausted. I was injured. I was sore. There was a lot of hopelessness.
To make matters worse, Dewey now makes a shocking discovery.
I had all these shards of pumice or lava rock or whatever it is embedded in my feet. There was some pussiness to it, and there was kind of a reddish line, and it was really sore. Just a constant swollen pressure inside of it. And that's when my idea that I can sit this out, it fell apart. I thought, well, I can sit it out unless I've got gangrene or unless I've got some infection. Felt really real, you know, it felt really right up against the edge of existence at that point.
After more than 51 hours alone, and with no one to share his ordeal, Dewey's turning to his camera more and more.
I hope you guys are proud of me. I ain't no quitter. I ain't no quitter. I got my reflector belt up in the tree. But, as you can see, it ain't doing me no good. Looks like it's just you and me.
Unknown to Dewey, search and rescue helicopters are out looking for him. In the night, local police have found his jeep. But after 3 days, scouring 300,000 acres of volcanic fields, they're starting to think he hasn't survived.
Tired. Real tired. I'm scared. I'm scared.
By morning, Dewey's hit rock bottom, and the infection in his foot is spreading. The pain is excruciating. Any remaining hopes Dewey had of walking off the volcano are gone.
My foot is pretty badly blistered, and I'm pussing. They gotta see me to find me.
His only hope is to make one final attempt to attract the passing tourist helicopters.
Well, I thought if I could build a large fire with a lot of smoke, might actually attract rescuers.
Dewey decides that the lava fields which have held him hostage for 5 days might give him an escape route. If he can use the red-hot lava to ignite a branch, he can start a fire and make a beacon. But to do it, Dewey must brave the volcano's toxic gases. Even brief exposure to concentrated carbon dioxide could kill him.
Signal. Rescue me.
I crawled down into one of these volcanic vents and tried to stick a long branch down into where it seemed like it was a hot area.
Light! Light, son! Burn, you son of a...
After just a few minutes choking in the intense heat and smoke, Dewey realizes he's taking a suicidal risk.
There was fumes coming out of there, and I was afraid I was going to pass out.
It's a bitter blow. Tourist helicopters continue to fly by, and Dewey still has no way of attracting their attention.
I came to the conclusion the only way I'm going to be able to get a fire is if I can get a magnifying glass to amplify the sun onto some leaves. The only place I could think to get a magnifying glass was the lens inside of my video camera. The camera was always my companion, someone to talk to, my connection to the outside in a way. Talking to it every day was a solace to me. It was comforting, so I didn't want to smash it.
Before destroying the only companion he's had, Dewey decides to record one final message to his daughters.
I was thinking, you know, this could be the last time my kids hear my voice.
My name is Dewey Gekki, and this is my final will and testament.
I'm realizing how much pain I'm putting my family through, and I just want to say, guys, I'm sorry I was stupid and reckless. I was feeling for my kids if they had to grow up, you know, without me. Trina and Tara, if I don't make it back, guys, I am so sorry. I want you to know I'll always be with you, always be watching over you. It was a pretty emotional process of saying goodbye. If this is my time and place, it's a really beautiful place. But I'm going to do my best to get back to you guys. I'm not quitting. I really love you guys. Bye.
But Dewey does have one slim hope. He thinks that if he can extract the glass lens from inside his beloved video camera, he may just be able to start a fire with it.
I understood that I was taking that film out, putting it in a waterproof case and hanging it on the tree for someone else to find. For somebody to find after I was dead.
Dewey feels that his camera is the one thing that's kept him sane. Destroying it is almost more than he can bear.
But I figured I needed to. I needed to, you know, make the hard choice and try to find a way to stay alive.
To get to the lens, he has to smash the camera. The problem is, he risks smashing the lens too.
I got some big rocks and started trying to break my camera open. I couldn't get anywhere.
The lens just won't come loose.
If I hit it too hard with too big of a rock, I would have crushed the glass, and it was just a painful effort. I heard a helicopter.
But it's yet another tourist group, checking out the volcano, not looking for him.
I decided, well, they're ignoring me. There's no point in getting up and flashing my mirror. But it flew right over to me, and I was like, is it possible that they actually saw me this time? And started circling me, and it was at that moment that I totally knew they saw me.
Incredibly, one of the tourists was able to capture on camera the moment of Dewey's discovery.
Yeah, he needs help. He's waving you down.
And it was at that moment I really started crying. I was alive after 5 days. I had this huge kind of release of all the fear and all the desperation I've been kind of keeping somewhat at bay. And it all came busting forth, and I just sat on the ground and I cried and I shook.
Nearly 90 hours after his ordeal began, Dewey was airlifted to hospital, where he was treated for his injuries and severe dehydration. 4 days later, he returned home to Austin, Texas, to be reunited with his daughters.
Absolutely the biggest thing behind my will to live was my kids, wanting to get back to them and not wanting them to have to grow up without a father.
Dewey owed his life to the young, inquisitive tourist who spotted him, Peter Frank.
He said, "Thanks a lot, you saved my life," and then he asked me for my home phone number and stuff.
And what did you say?
I said, "It's cool."
Peter has remained in touch with Dewey, Trina, and Tara ever since.
Hey guys, how are you doing in the back?
I'm hungover, it's your fault.
How many beers did you drink last night?
Professional diver Ken Wilson and his employer and close friend Kathy Gorgans run a small tourist resort on the Mexican island of Cozumel.
Hungover as well, aren't you?
We sell fun. You're taking people to do something they love every day. And that's when people are happy. And that's the best time to be around those people is when they're happy.
Ken, tell him about your first dive.
Oh, Kathy, yeah. Well, I used to tend bar in Bon Terre.
For Ken, this was a chance to quit his job in construction, to do what he loves best, scuba diving.
It's probably one of the most peaceful things you could do. You're totally weightless. It's almost a form of meditation.
We'd love to take you diving, Ken, but you're wearing your wetsuit on back to front.
Ken is like, I would say, something that you find like a rock and you think, oh, this is pretty, I'm gonna keep it. And then you shine it up and you find out he's a gem.
Today, they're taking 2 of their customers to see the ancient Mayan ruins on the island.
All right, let's check it out. Here we go.
It's the last day of the holiday, and tomorrow they all return to the US.
Hold on.
We had 6 lovely days of diving. On the 7th day, we decided we'll walk around the ruins, work up an appetite, go have breakfast.
Hey, you want a guide? No, not aggressive. But I'm a good guide. No, not aggressive. I'm the best guide ever.
The Mayan ruins are all that remains of a lost civilization that lived on the island over 1,000 years ago.
You just felt like you were in a sauna. It was so hot and so humid, and it was just hard to breathe. And then the mosquitoes were just so bad.
Well, this certainly isn't the one in the picture.
Collapsed and overgrown, the ruins are a far cry from the magnificent Mayan structures Ken had imagined.
Let's go a little further and see what we can find.
You know what? You guys go ahead, I'll wait for you here.
You sure you'll be okay?
Ken, I'll be fine.
We began to work our way out through the ruins, and of course now it's about 11 o'clock and the heat's really building up.
Look, Ken, I'm sorry, I'm going back.
It's not long before the other 2 have also had enough of the oppressive heat.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Me neither.
I said, well, I'm going to walk on about another 15 minutes. And I probably should have stayed with them,
Located in the center of the island, the ruins are surrounded by hundreds of kilometers of thick, impenetrable jungle.
At that time, there wasn't any signs, there wasn't any markers, and it was pretty grown up.
Ken is determined to find the ruin pictured on his ticket receipt. But he's having no luck. So he decides to head back.
I need to get back. Catherine's hot. She needs to leave. We need to go back and get something to drink.
But it's not as easy as he thinks. All the paths look the same.
So I crossed. Got another intersection, then another intersection. It became a little confusing about which fork of this I was taking, so I began to explore off this branch, and I would come to the next intersection, and this is not familiar.
The network of Mayan pathways that centuries ago linked one building to the next is now an overgrown maze. And Ken is lost in the middle of it.
I'm sorry, guys. This is really unlike Ken.
Half hour goes by, 45 minutes go by. Now my intuition's kicking in. It's going, there's something wrong. Ken's not like this. This is out of his character.
The sun's directly overhead. I have no sense of direction, what's east, west, north, south. And now I'm really starting to get charged up. I need to rely on a little bit of adrenaline to get me where I need to go. And at that point, that was a state of panic.
Then all of a sudden, an hour goes by, an hour and a half, and I said, that's it. There's something wrong here.
Kathy!
We don't hear him. So I said, let's go back to the entrance. Maybe he's waiting for us back there.
What was that?
Then I heard this real faint call.
That's Ken. That's gotta be him. Ken! Ken, we're over here!
Kathy!
And I said, you guys hear that? And they said, no, what? And I said, just listen. Let's just sit here for a minute. Just listen. So we all listened. And then all of a sudden we heard that call. I said, see, did you hear that? Yeah, I did. Call back. I know that's Ken. He's lost.
I heard him call back.
Thinking he can make out the direction of Kathy's voice, Ken makes a fatal error.
And made the decision to leave the paths and go straight through the jungle to where I heard the noise.
Ken thinks he's heading straight for Kathy. But he's been deceived. The thick jungle has distorted her screams. And every step he takes is leading him away from her and deeper into Cozumel's dark heart.
Kathy!
Kathy can no longer hear Ken's cries.
And now I'm really concerned. He's lost. He's going further away.
So whenever I didn't hear a response from the last call, it really gave a sort of sinking feeling.
Kathy!
He's hopelessly lost in one of the deadliest environments on Earth. In just 3 hours, it will be dark, and Ken will have to confront the terrors of the jungle at night. He's been missing for over 6 hours, and his friend Kathy is increasingly concerned.
I asked some of the tour guys there, I said, can you help us? The guy is lost in there, and he didn't come out with us, and I'm really concerned he can't find his way out.
Panic drives Ken forward, but he has no idea where he's going.
I can still get out of here. Every minute I'm thinking I can still get out of here.
But pushing through the dense forest growth is draining his strength.
It really began to take a toll on me physically. The brush is so thick, you can never walk in a straight line for more than 10 or 15 feet. So I really have no sense of direction right now. I need to hurry up and get back, push harder, push harder. Would run into vines, which would tear up my ankles, and I would end up falling down again.
It's 4 p.m. In just 2 hours, the jungle will be plunged into darkness.
I might have covered 2 miles in that first burst of energy, but now I'm going really slow. Sun's starting to set in, it's getting darker and darker.
Desperate to escape the jungle before nightfall, Ken pushes himself harder.
I had caught my leg in a hole, and I thought, well, I've almost broken my leg just now. If I break my leg, I can't walk out of here. And I decided to make my camp here for the night.
Ken now faces a terrifying night alone in the jungle. A fire is all that stands between him and unseen predators.
It was a little bit of an eerie feeling because I'm thinking there could be someone out there watching me.
All around him, the jungle is coming alive.
I could hear some kind of animal and occasional leaf rustling. I had a degree of paranoia, and there was no way I was going to be able to sleep in that situation.
Scared and alone, Ken's thoughts turned to his friend, Kathy.
Of course, in the back of my mind, I knew the whole time that I'm there that Catherine is going to be at the forefront of somebody looking for me.
He doesn't know it, but he's right. Kathy's raised the alarm back at their hotel. But at night, there's nothing anyone can do.
I was crying. I was really upset. I just sat on the edge of the bed, fully dressed, just praying and praying, please, God, help him find his way out. Please help him find his way out.
Ken makes it through the night. He's had barely any sleep, and his body is still recovering from the exertions of the previous day.
You know, the first day, our plan was to go to the ruins and go eat breakfast. So the moment I was lost, I was already hungry. I had not eaten from the night before, and I desperately needed something to drink.
But his first priority is to find a way out of the jungle. His flight back to America is due to leave in 6 hours, and he's determined to be on it.
As soon as the sun came up the next morning, I can still make it to the airplane. I can still make it. I can make it to the flight. Wouldn't it be something if they had all my bags packed and Catherine was at the airport and I ran in to get in line at the last minute? I can still do it.
Ken doesn't know which direction to run, but he's sure he must come out of the jungle soon.
Now I've got to come out on the road. It's going to be any minute now.
The jungle is an assault course, and Ken has to climb and drag his way through it.
A lot of times when you got to get it done, you've got to call on that adrenaline to help you out. You're using your adrenaline as a tool. Yes, I can still make it. I can still make it to the airport in time to get on my flight. I'm going faster and faster because, you know, I've got less and less time.
But racing through the jungle is badly dehydrating Ken. And the lack of fluid is causing crippling muscle cramps. And it's too late, anyway.
And I knew that that was my flight, and there was no way I was going to make it back to the airport. I've really messed things up.
As far as he knows, Kathy is on her way back home, and he is on his own. Ken has no choice but to keep going and try to find a way out.
As the day goes on, it's just sweltering. It's like being in a sauna.
In this tropical jungle, where temperatures can hit 40 degrees, he's losing as much as 10 liters of fluid a day. Unless he finds water soon, his kidneys, liver, and brain will begin to shut down.
I am really dehydrated. I am so thirsty as my mouth is like a cotton ball. You don't care whether the water's dirty or not. Any water will do.
It's not a lot, and Ken risks deadly bacteria. But then he hears something to give him hope.
I begin to hear this drone, this sound. I said, oh, this has got to be the highway. I can hear it.
But the sound of the road turns out to be the buzz of a huge beehive. Once again, the jungle has deceived him. Ken now faces a second night alone. Using his last match, he decides to build a giant fire, hoping the flames will be spotted from the air.
And this fire is just roaring, and these sparks are going like 50, 80 feet up in the air in this huge fire, and I'm thinking, somebody's looking for me, they're gonna see this, they're gonna see the smoke, they're gonna know where I'm at.
Come on, yeah! Come on! Come on, this is big enough for you! Come on, guys, see this! Come on! Come on!
And the night began to wear on, and it was like, well, nobody's here yet. Somebody should have been able to see it.
Come on, please, come on!
But Ken's fire is just a pinprick of light in nearly 1,000 square kilometers of jungle. But days without enough water and more sleepless nights are pushing his body to the edge of human endurance.
I would never sleep more than 15 minutes at a time because I knew there was a threat from wild animals.
There's only one way to fend off the animals and get the rest his body needs. A fire. Although he has no matches left, he's thought of a smart alternative.
I shorted the positive and the negative battery terminals in an attempt to start a fire. However, there just wasn't quite enough juice in it to work.
There's one last hope.
I decided I'm going to try to build a fire using my shoelaces.
Friction is the most ancient way of lighting a fire. With patience It should generate enough heat to start a small flame.
That went on for 3 hours, 4 hours. It would just get hot enough to smoke a little bit and stop, but everything there was so wet that the fire just wouldn't start.
Come on.
I was sitting on the floor there just rubbing away in this tree trunk, and I'm thinking, you know, this is not gonna work, and my back is in excruciating pain now.
Everything Ken has tried has failed. He's losing the battle. The jungle has started to claim his body. Now, it will claim his mind. In the last 13 days, all he's had to keep him alive are a few rancid fruits and dribbles of water sucked from plants.
I was thinking all the time that this could go on forever, that I'm never gonna get out of here. I know I can't last forever. Eventually I would die, but I can't let myself dwell on that.
Dehydration is tearing Ken apart.
I know I need to eat, but the first call is for water. My body's saying it needs water.
He's so desperate, he's forced to drink stagnant, dirty water.
And as I'm dipping my camera bag to use as a filter to try to filter out some whatever contaminants could be in this water, I see a small lizard. And this little lizard's about 4 inches long. I could just swallow it whole. I started to swallow him whole, and then he got stuck in my throat because it was still alive. So then I killed him. He ended up being, I guess you could call that a meal.
Desperation is pushing Ken to a place he's never gone before. Fantasy and reality are starting to blur.
I began to build these elaborate scenarios about what was going to happen when I walked out of here.
That's it.
I had this credit card, and I was going to get a taxi. I was going to buy some clothes and get to a hotel.
Hey, take me into town, please.
I'll get that, Ken.
And it isn't just Ken's mind that is unraveling. His body is falling apart too.
It was mostly my legs that were cut up from going through the brush. Those sores on my ankles weren't healing. I was beginning to be very concerned about if they were going to get infected or not. I found out that I've got these scabs on the upper part of my leg that are beginning to heal because they're dry. So I began to take some of the dry scabs and use them as Band-Aids to patch some of the wounds around my ankle. It was kind of like a Band-Aid.
Ken's situation is desperate. Lost, alone and weak. He's being pushed to the edge of sanity.
this helicopter all of a sudden pulls up. There's some kind of loudspeaker in there, and I can hear what they're saying.
Mr. Wilson, you're a truly amazing man. But we regret that we must inform your mother. She may not see you again.
This is not right at all. There is something wrong here. And I start to hear the national anthem from the United States.
Ken is desperately trying to keep his body together. But after 2 weeks alone in the jungle, he's slowly losing his mind.
I'm calling room service, I'm filling up the bathtub, and from there on, I don't care what happens, but that's gonna be my fantasy.
Just leave it on the table.
He's increasingly drifting off into a dream world, from which he might never wake up.
It was just so many weird things that, and I'm beginning to wonder if it's something within my own mind that is keeping me here.
After 15 days of mental torture, it's all Ken can do just to stay alive.
My body needed water so bad, it could never think anything but quenching my thirst. It's a very strange feeling, this stress from not being able to drink, not being able to eat, not being able to find your way out.
Ken no longer worries about being rescued. Instead, he spends his time catching flies that bite him and feeding them to ants.
And from the stress, there was some sort of relief by watching ants eat these flies. It was a revenge.
But, like the flies, Ken is now part of the jungle's food chain, and his own dying body will soon be its next meal.
The vultures I began to see 2 or 3, then there was 4 or 5, the next day there might have been 5 or 6. I began to use the vultures as a way to try to signal somebody. And I would kind of lay down and twitch a little bit to act like I was something that was dying to try to get the vulture's attention, to get them attracted to, and that was a way to signal somebody by air, because I had no other means to do so. But it just didn't work out like that. It was another disappointment. I realized I was gonna die there.
Entire days pass by. Instead of trying to find a way out of the jungle, Ken's becoming part of it.
Now my clothes are nothing but shreds. I haven't shaved in 2 or 3 weeks. You know, I'm matted with dirt. I have no shoelaces.
Ken is still only alive thanks to occasional mouthfuls of stagnant water. He's physically and mentally broken.
I could already be dead, and I don't know it. What if I died 3 days ago and my spirit is here wandering around, and this is my destiny of eternity, is to wander around in this jungle? You begin to think, I'll never get out of here.
After 18 days missing, even Ken's friend Kathy is starting to doubt he can still be alive.
I'm really to the point, like, you know, this is getting hopeless. I mean, it hurt so bad to think that this guy could possibly die.
I just laid down and I dozed off a little bit. In a few minutes, I woke up and there was a woman standing there holding a baby. Some people say that whenever people are lost, sometimes they'll see the Virgin Mary. It gave me such an adrenaline rush when that happened. It gave me more confidence. I'm gonna walk out of here. I'm gonna walk out of here. I kept visualizing that in my mind over and over and over again. I wasn't gonna sit down and die. I was gonna keep walking until I died. And whenever I couldn't walk anymore, I was gonna crawl until I got out of the jungle. This is like one of the first things I've seen of civilization since I've been lost. Say I was hallucinating, maybe I could have been, but it seemed all way too realistic. Once I had came out there, I knew exactly where I was because I'd been there before. Right at the beach in Cozumel, the north end of the island. I was ecstatic. I'm not lost anymore. I made it out alive.
After 20 days fighting crippling hunger, dehydration, sleep deprivation, and jungle predators, Ken is finally safe.
He had his hair packed, like spiked with mud, big cuts and scratches, and just looked like he's just been chewed up.
I felt really bad because she started bawling, and that made me start bawling.
The tears were just rolling. We just couldn't let go for 10 minutes. I mean, we were just so thankful he was alive.
It really brought us really close.
Ken's recovery took 6 long months. To help cope with the ordeal, he returned to his greatest love, scuba diving.
The experience changed the way that I think. The fact is, within 10 seconds, any of us could be gone. So I decided I should be more kind to other people. I should be more generous with what I have. I'm just happy.